Right, good morning. Really bright one today because I've got my camera in a completely different position. I've got it right in front of the living room window there because I'm going to film something different today. I'm going to film installing and setting up a Floyd Rose from scratch because I said I'd do this video. Someone asked me on my YouTube page if I'd do a video showing how to completely set up a Floyd Rose with no strings, blah blah blah, no strings on it, just set it up from scratch. And I said I'd do it, and so I got a guitar in yesterday coming for a complete setup. And it's a complete strip. Basically, I've completely stripped the guitar, taken everything out and rebuilt it from the bottom up. And the last part of it now is going to be setting up the Floyd Rose and stringing the guitar. So it's what I'm going to do today. And I'm going to take it from scratch and I'm going to show you how it's done. So I'm going to turn the camera down. Turn the camera towards the guitar, right, like so. I'm going to zoom in and we're going to take it from there and we're going to blob on with it. So we just need this up a little bit more. I think, there you go. So here we go. Now the most important thing when setting your tremolo, the thing we've got to do first is we've got to get it level, because we can't set it up if it's not perfectly horizontal to the body of the guitar. There's a couple of ways we can set that. A couple of ways I like to do it is I can either take a steel bar and place it under the tremolo like so. There you go. That's slightly just above perfectly level. It's close enough to use, but I'm probably not going to use that method today. Other ways you could do it, you could insert a screwdriver, get a real long screwdriver like so, extended one, and you could put this beneath here, and that, in some cases, that is more or less perfect. And you can still get at these bolts here to tighten and loosen the saddle block. So let's just see how we get on with that. That is actually perfect. I'm not going to go with that method today either though. What I'm going to do is, I'll probably show you this a little bit better if I zoom out a little bit. I'm going to go from underneath, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a method where I'll just block off the tremolo completely. And now I'm going to do that is I'm going to place something between the tremolo itself here, if I can. I'm going to place a block in here. Now I made a tool. It's not a tool. It's basically made out of a lolly stick, ice lolly sticks, taped together to make a thickness that is exactly right for this gap. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to place it in there, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the springs on the tremolo. What I'm going to do is I'm going to stretch them over a claw like so. Now that may not look right to you, but trust me, when the strings are on, it's going to fall off until I start getting the strings on. Once the strings are on, that's going to sit exactly like that, perfectly level. So what I'm going to do is turn the guitar back over. I guarantee that's going to be absolutely right. Once the strings are on, we'll start getting some tension on there. That's it, it's going to be perfect. Now what I'm going to need to do is I'm going to need to add the other springs as well, but first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get some strings on. So you can see where we're at right there. That's not sitting level yet because we've got no string. We need the tension of the strings to pull back against that spring. Once we've done that, we're going to go and put the other two springs on, and we're going to tighten up the claw. But I'm going to show you where we are with this. So I'm going to get the strings. I think he said he supplied strings. Bear with. Will be in this case. Yep, got some strings. Diodario. Oh, it's got loads of strings, right, okay. Make sure the right set. Yeah. 942s. Right, it's good for 942s on this, of which we've got a set here. So I'm going to start putting the strings on. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put on the low E and the high E, and that's going to pull the tremolo up. We can start. Then we can start. I can show you how to set the tremolo. So the brass one's a high one. Now, I was using a method where I thread the ball end through the tuning peg at the other end of the guitar and pulling this. There's your tuning peg. Pulling it against the tuning peg. But the problem with that is, if you start turning the tuning peg and that ball end snaps off, you've got no string left. You've got nothing to wrap it to. So I'm not going to use that method anymore. I'm going to actually do the proper method, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut off the ball end, like so, and we're going to do it properly. There you go. Now what we're going to need to do is we're going to need to take the right Allen key, and we're going to need to loosen off this bolt here. Just bring it back a little. Bring it right around, don't bring it to scratch the guitar. What we're going to do is, I've got a long pointy thing here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to move the saddle, and I'm going to insert this end of the string into where the saddle block is here. Now what we need to do is, we need to make sure this is inserted enough. That's not enough. We need to get about that much in, so this is not moved back far enough as yet. So with the string inserted like so, we're going to bring it right back, there you go, and now it's right in. We've got in there, we've got that much in there, 1 centimetre, that's what you should be aiming for. So all the way into the saddle block. Once it's in, we're going to tighten up with the Allen key. You don't need to go mental with this. I've got that hand tight now, finger tight, so what we're going to do is we're just going to go in and we're going to give it, once it's hand tight, well that's not a very good Allen key, is it? I find with these cheaper Floyd Roses that these they often chew up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my really good set of Allen keys, my McAllisters, and we're going to look for the right one, which will be a 3mm, which is this one. And right, all we're going to do is, I've got that pretty tight now, all we're going to do is give it a quarter turn. That's tight enough. We're going to take the other end of a string and we're going to thread it through where it needs to go. You must ensure that you get the string right in behind that saddle, behind that little block there, because you need really good grip, because they can slip and you don't want it slipping. I'm just tightening up the string at the far end here. Amuse yourselves for a second or two while I do this. I like a good couple of wraps around a tuner peg, me. Probably a bit too many there, but that's okay. Right, you can see I'm pulling the tremolo up slightly. Once we've got a couple of strings on there, this is gonna hold itself. I can remove this bar. So I've got the low E on there. Just gonna snip that end off. Throw these out of the way. We're gonna do the same with the high E. Cut off the ball end. Now we're not going to need to pull this back so much, so all we're going to do is just give it a little turn. I'm going to have to buy some extended. There you go, that's all the way in. We've got a good centimetre there, can you see that? All the way in. tighten up, get as tight as we can on this way. That's as tight as I can right there, and then what we're going to do is place it in, give it probably 1/8 of the turn, not super tight that is. I'm going to go back to the other end, I'm going to wrap the string around its peg. La-di-da-di-da. Your patience is appreciated. Where's my string winder? Quicker. So yeah, bit long-winded if you're just watching the video rather than doing it. I mean, don't worry about that. The action is not set on the tremolo yet. Probably need to come up a little higher on the trem post. So what we're going to do is now we're going to bring up the tremolo. Just a little, just get them strings free. Checking for level, that's beautiful. Looks pretty good there to me. That's good, we're good there. Now, I should remove this. It's going to pull back, we know that anyway. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to place this where it needs to be. Like so, that's going to hold. It's really good, quite good where we are there. And pull on the other springs, still with us, that's good. I've got the other two springs on. I'll take a flathead screwdriver and bring it over, stretch the spring over there, like so. Again, take a flathead screwdriver over where you need to go, stretch it over, drop it in. We're going to check for level. That's okay. Now what we're going to do is take a screwdriver, I'm going to screw these all the way in because we want more tension than we're going to need. All the way in with these, all the way. Because when we come to tuning, once we've got it all in tune and lined up proper, once we've got the tremolo where it needs to be, all we're going to do to get it set is we're going to loosen these. It'll drop it right back into tune, I guarantee it. Right, there you go. The tremolo is level there. Right. The height is not perfect. We're not worried about that yet, we'll sort her out in a second. What we're going to do now is we're going to set the height of the tremolo. Looks pretty good. I can always alter this again later. Right, there you go. The tremolo is sat perfectly horizontal now. We'll see how we go on with this. I think it's going to be absolutely fine. I can also stick this under there. It's going to be fine where we are, as we are. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to bring that in like so. I'm just going to test the camera, make sure we're right central there. That's brilliant, so you can see what we're doing. And I'm going to put the other strings on, and I'm going to come back to you. Right, so I'm back. The guitar is now all strung up. I've not stretched the strings, but what I'm going to do is now I'm going to turn the guitar over again, and the strings are pulling this really quite tight because I've tightened the claw screws up, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn the guitar over again. I've just loosened these claw screws, and I'm going to insert extra springs just to give me more pull. So what this is going to do is it's going to make sure that this bridge does not move at all. No matter how tight or loose I put the strings. So these are only in temporary. The springs. There you go. That's how not to put one on. Oh, stubborn one here. I mean, 4's probably alright, but now I've started this, I'm going to finish it. There you go. So I've got 5 springs in there. Now there's no way this tremolo is going to move now at all. Just get a position right there. There you go. There's no way that can move back now, that tremolo. It's absolutely solid. No matter how much we tighten these strings, that tremolo is going to stay there. So what I'm going to do now is, I'm going to set the action. I'm going to zoom out with the camera. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to set the action at the 12th fret. Just off camera there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring this up just a little bit, just so you can see. And I'm going to set the action on the 12th fret at 1.75mm above this 12th fret. And how I'm going to do that is, I'm going to bring this up just a little. So there you go, there I am at 1.5, which is good. I'm just going to bring that up, check the action at the 12th. We're between 1.5 and 1.75. I'm happy with that. And we're going to do same with this side. We're going to bring this up to round about 1.5 at the 12th fret. Which I think we're going to be about there. That's about right. So I think the tremolo, where it is set just about right. It's leaning a tiny bit forward, but we're not bothered about that. Just a little bit forward, absolutely okay. It doesn't have to be perfectly horizontal. A little bit forward's alright, we'll get away with that. So okay, so now what I'm going to do is, and again, I'm going to do this off camera. I've got to stretch the strings. What I do first and foremost though, if you see, I forgot to mention this. I'm going to come back, bring it back to where we need it to be. Right, what I'm going to do is I'm going to zoom back in. This is very important. The fine tuners, we need to set them in the centre, not high up, not down all the way in. We need to set them in the centre. So what we're going to do is, to find the centre, screw, all the way in. What we'll do is the second one, leave that one all the way up. We'll screw that somewhere between the two, which is there, and what we do is then we match all these to that one. We're all going to be central. And what this is going to enable us to do is, it's going to mean that we can alter each string up or down the same amount when it comes to doing the fine tuning later. So there you go. So we're more or less all level there, about halfway. We've got as much adjustment up as we have down now. And once we've got the guitar tuning now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get it close to tune, or close to the correct tuning. What I'm going to do is I'll check the action again. That's good. So now what I'm going to do is, we've got that perfectly level now. We've got the strings slightly higher than pitch. What I'm going to do now is, and I'm going to do this off camera again, I'm going to stretch the strings and get the guitar tuned in. What I'm going to do is I'm going to completely move the camera. I'm going to move it to a different position, the other end of the bench, and you're going to be able to get a better idea of how I'm going about this and what I'm going to be doing. So I'm going to do that now. I'm going to stretch all the strings. Once I've got the strings stretched sufficiently enough that we're not going to stretch any more, then we can look at tuning this in properly, getting it all set, and then I'm going to show you how we balance the tremolo, how we get it in perfect tune and to stay in tune. So bear with, I'll be back shortly. Right, back again with the camera at a normal angle. What I'm going to do is, I'm going to show you basically now, finish off setting up for Floyd Rose. What I've done is I've altered the bridge, heightened the bridge where it needs to be, so I've got the action on the 12th fret right, on the top E and on the low E. So I've got the bridge where I want it. I've now got it set perfectly horizontal. I've got springs at the back tightened right up. And as you'll see in a minute, when I turn the camera onto the guitar, you'll see that I've removed the block from the back of the tremolo and I've gone with my screwdriver method, which I'm going to show you right now. I'm going to turn the camera on to the guitar. And here you'll see, there you go, you can now see I've took the piece of wood out from the block from underneath the tremolo and I've gone with my screwdriver method. This screwdriver traps underneath the tremolo, it means, and I've got the extra tension pulling it right back so it can't go anywhere. It's absolutely perfectly horizontal to the guitar. Now what I need to do is, I've put a string tree back on, I've altered the truss rod, so the truss rod's right, so the neck is flat. I've got a tiny little bit of relief in there, just in this area, which is what I call playing position. Put the string tree back on, pulling the strings down where they need to be, and I've slightly, just ever so lightly, put the string blocks on. And what I'm going to do is I've stretched the strings. I've stretched all the strings 3 or 4 or 5 times, and what I'm going to do is now, we're going to go for tuning. And we're going to get it pretty close. I mean that's bang on. Because what we're going to be doing is, in a minute, we're going to be setting the intonation. There you go, so the guitar is in tune. So what we're going to do now is we're going to set the intonation. To set the intonation, what we're going to do is we're going to play the string open, it's in tune. We're going to play the harmonic at the 12th fret, in tune, and we're going to fret the note at the 12th fret, an octave up. That one's actually bang on. Perfect. Second one, A. Again, perfect. D. So a little bit sharp. Sort that in a minute. G. G is also sharp. B. B is sharp. And E. Also sharp. So these two strings are fine. These 4 strings are all sharp, a little bit sharp, which means what we've got to do is we've got to move the saddle. We've got to lengthen the string length. If it's flat, we go towards the neck, which I remember flat, you go left. 4 letters, 4 letters. If it's sharp, right, you go right, which is 5 letters, 5 letters. Sharp, right, both 5 letters. Flat, left. So all these 4 strings are slightly sharp, means we've got to go slightly to the right, so we've got to lengthen the string length. We're going to do this one at a time. And I'm going to show you how you do that. Hopefully you can see it from there. I couldn't bring the camera around, so I'm going to stop filming for a second and I'm going to bring the camera around and take it from there. I'll be back in a second. Right, I'm back. I've moved the camera around again so you can see what's what. We're gonna, the intonation on this D string here, the intonation's out, it's sharp on the 12th fret, so we need to lengthen the string length. So we're going to move this saddle this way. And to do that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to loosen the string. And loosen it well enough for me to be able to move that saddle back. And how we do that is, that's well loose. We're going to take the Allen key, the correct Allen key, which should be, looks like, this one. Too big. Bigger than all that. And what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to move this one back. Too small. There you go. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move this back. So I'm going to move this back to the hole furthest away. Now what I didn't do there, I didn't know where it was. I think I know where it was. Yeah, it was there. It would have been about there. So I'm going to need to move it about there. So all the way, if I get this in the second hole, should be just about right. Like a right pig zero this at the moment. Here you go. Here you go. That would go in, that's good. I'll say we need to be about there, I think. Tight enough. There you go, perfect. That's fine. G. G's okay. G sharp, B sharp should I say. So again, the same with the B. Move it back about, go back a millimetre or two. There you go, just should be just about right there. Don't over tighten these, otherwise you're going to knacker the thread. Still too sharp. So we're going to come further. I'm going to move this as well. Very strange because you don't very rarely see this on a Floyd Rose, that all the saddles are virtually in a straight line. But in this case it looks like that's going to be the case. So let's see how we get on. Like I said, it's going to be a full video, this one. That's perfect. Now the E. Look sharp. Yep, a little bit sharp. Just lengthen it slightly. Not a lot on this one, millimetre maybe. That should be enough. That's it. That's the intonation done. So, well, you see I've moved a couple of these saddles back. The intonation is all bang on my 12th fret now, so I'm going to stop the camera again. I'm going to move the camera back to where it was before, at the end of the table, end of the bench, and we'll continue with the setup and we'll get it all finished off. Right at the back end now, finishing the setup on this tremolo. We've got tremolo perfectly straight, perfectly level. We've got the intonation all done. Up on the 12th fret, we've got the string tree back on, we've got the clamps on there loosely, and what we're doing now, we're doing a final string stretch. I've got it virtually in tune. What I'm going to do is though, you've got to make sure that these strings are stretched enough before you clamp them off, otherwise you're going to use it for a couple of minutes and it's going to go everything out of tune. You've already got your tension done, you're going to have to undo it all again and get it all set up again, start again. So we're going to just stretch the strings again all along the length. down here as well at the neck end. Get it all stretched everywhere. Give them a good stretch, not too mad on these single core ones, otherwise you'll snap them. But get them all done at this end. They've already been overstretched anyway quite a few times. And once it's not changing pitch anymore, you know you've got them stretched enough. So I'm going to get really close now. Those strings are stretched enough. I'm going to slightly under tune them, just very, very slightly, by about 1 cent. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to tighten these clamps. And I'm going to tighten them pretty good. No, you don't need to over tighten. There you go, they're tight. Now we're going to chop the tuning. A little bit sharp. Now you see the fine tuners are all halfway. Means we've got enough movement up and down to alter the tuning. We're going to do it with the tremolo still horizontal, not moving. That is, for some reason, is going flatter. That means I've got a problem somewhere. We're just going to put these all back where they were. I'm going to start that again. I'm going to find out why that B string is not altering. Chances are it may be slipping at this end. So undo these clamps. This does happen, and it's great you're seeing this happening to me right here, right now, because then we can find out what the problem is. We can put it right. Very strange that. There's no reason that should have happened. Whoops! Didn't have that in right. That's tight, they're all tight there. Now then, we're going to check tuning again. Right, we're in tune. E, B, G's a little bit flat. D's fine. We're in tune. Right, and now here comes the magic bit. This is the bit we've all been waiting for. So, chances are when we pull this tremolo out, this screwdriver out, this is going to pull back. I'm actually going to move the camera, put the camera back on me, because this is where the magic happens. This is where you get to see. Don't ask me why that camera has gone, everything's gone orange on that camera. I've got no idea, it's never normally like this. Have I hit something, hit some sort of setting? Don't think so. Anyway, well, let's put up with it. Now this is where the magic happens. When I pull the screwdriver out of here, the tremolo is going to pull back. So you're going to ask, and it's done exactly that. You see? The tremolo is now pulling back, and everything will now be sharp by a couple of semitones, I imagine. The A is now a B. See that? So how are we going to get in tune? Really easy to get this in tune. All we're going to do is we're going to loosen these two screws the same amount until that A is in tune. And once that A string is in tune, all the other strings are going to be in tune and the tremolo is going to be set. So what we're going to do is we're going to undo the claw strings, same amount each time. So we're going to do them together because we want it perfectly horizontal. I'm going to pluck a note. I want a B flat now. And to show you what I'm doing, I'm loosening these two screws here. I'll show you how I do it. I'm going to move the camera just a little bit down there, so you can see. And I'm going to pluck the A string, still a B flat. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to loosen these two together until we get that down to an A. And once we hit that A note, the tremolo is going to be perfectly horizontal. We're still sharp. Tiny bit sharp, we're there just about. We're more or less there, we're just a tiny bit sharp. Once that A string falls into place, all the others will be in tune as well. Let's have a look. I'm going to turn the guitar the right way. The A is in tune. Now you see all the other strings should be in tune, or very close. D's in tune, G's in tune, B's in tune, E's in tune. There you go, and that's how you properly set up the Floyd Rose. I'll make sure we're zoomed all the way out there. Yeah, I think we are. So that's it, we're done. The Floyd Rose is set. I'm going to bring it over to the camera. I'm going to show you that it's nicely floating. There you go, Floyd Rose is perfectly floating, perfectly level. All strings are in tune. All we've done with that is when it pulled the bridge back, all we've done is loosen the screws to make it level again, and now the guitar is completely in tune. And that's it. That is how you set up a Floyd Rose tremolo. Hope you found this interesting. There will be a link to this. This video will be linked from a video on the setup of this guitar, complete setup. So I'll make sure all the relevant links are in place. This has been Victor Christian from Christian Guitars and Fret Friend. Until next time, be good to each other, and I'll talk to you soon.